Everyone, we'll get going in about a minute. We've got Duffy and Taliba here joining us. And
we are currently based here in Canada, but we have clients in the States, we have clients in Asia, we have clients in Africa, and clients in Australia, and everyone more or less adores using this product. It's very user-friendly. As I mentioned, we have just over 80 functions that we can use, and they're designated really for creating, your general ledgers, your projects, dealing with your financials, and we also have Writeback, which you will see shortly. Very, very user-friendly. So, before I hop off of all of this, I kind of just want you guys to know, if you use Excel, you can use Velixo. If you have a learning curve when it comes to Excel, it's going to be similar with Velixo. We have tons of support in the ways of videos, in the ways of a dedicated training team, dedicated consultancy team. So we provide a lot of support to help. It doesn't really matter where you are with your learning, we'll be able to get you where you need to be. So this is an example of a couple of our clients. We have just over 1,200 clients growing every day, which is amazing. And I don't want to touch on all of them. I really just kind of want to give you an idea that, variety of industries, a variety of regions. And one of our largest clients is KFC, located in France. So they have, I believe, just over 85 different tenants that they use. We allow for multiple tenants to be in one spreadsheet. And that's one of the things that they really do enjoy, is that they can have all of their information in the consolidated sheet, look at individuals if necessary, but they have all of their info available to them. So that's really everything that I wanted to cover. Whether you have your activation code that you get directly from Acumatica, or you can go to our website. This is essentially how you would start your implementation. So Velixo.com, you would want to go to the support section of our website, and you're going to see right here, getting started with Velixo Classic for Windows. So I would click on this here. Just to let you know, obviously we can work with a variety of different operating systems, whether it's Windows or Mac. You can see right here, we have a Mac version. You click on Insider Sales and you're going to see that it's going to download. So I've downloaded that. It only takes a couple of seconds. I'm going to open a little window here, and I am going to accept my terms, click on Install. And now it is installing, and you're going to see this actually doesn't take very much time once it gets started, and we are good to go. So you're going to see here, it's going to launch Excel. If you have Excel, it's already open while you're doing the download. It will close and reopen itself. So I'll just click on Finish, and we will open up Excel. Perfect. Slide this over here so that everyone can see it. And I'm going to choose a blank workbook. And the first thing that we're going to see here is our pop-up. So this is essentially telling us, welcome. This is all of the new stuff that we have going on here. So let me close this. And the first thing actually that I would like to show you when we get started, by the way, that was implementation. Done. It's already it's installed and we are ready to go. So the first thing that you want to do to make sure that you're installed is you're going to see the Velixo ribbon, which is now part of your main function. So you're going to click on the Velixo ribbon and you're going to see all of our functions are available here. So the first button that we have is our refresh all. When using Velixo and connecting it to your Acumatica environment, you are now transforming your spreadsheets into live spreadsheets. You have the ability to work offline if you want to, but if you're going to be online, everything now is connected, so you don't have to constantly export documents and re-import information. Our connection manager is over here. Another fun thing to mention about refresh before I move on is that you can do a smart refresh where you can select specific cells if you're working with a large book with multiple tabs, or you can do a full refresh. So it's up to you, refresh a part or refresh all of it. Our connection manager is what allows us to connect to the Acumatica tenant. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to a tenant and create my connection name. When building these out for the first time, please do yourself a favor and make sure that your connection name is not very long. You're going to see it in links. You're going to be typing that out on a regular basis. So for your own convenience, please try and make it as short as possible. When you're adding the URL, you have to ensure that it is a full URL with the HTTPS section. Otherwise, it is not going to work. And that is just the way that this is built. Please include the full URL. So I'm going to put in mine. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to add your tenant information. You're going to add your username that you use with Acumatica and your password that you use with Acumatica. So as I mentioned, you have the ability to work offline if you so choose. You also have the ability to connect via SSO. If you don't know how to set this up, we have it available on our website. It will give you the step-by-step breakdown for how to get that done. Obviously, if you don't want to continue writing out your credentials, you can click on Remember Me. Oh, this little I actually is for my password. This section over here specifically is for SSO, my apologies. And then you would connect. So I'm going to click on Connect, and it is verifying all of my credentials. Everything worked perfectly fine. And I know that because I have a green cloud over here. If that didn't work, I would get either a gray cloud with a red strike through, or I would get a pop-up message basically saying that there was an error somewhere. Now that we're connected, what I can do, I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to zoom in also just so that it's nice and clear for everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an example of how you would build a trial balance. So I'm going to do this, as I would. First things first, I'm going to put my codes here. I'm going to properly format this, make this a capital C. I am going to put the name here, the name of all of my accounts that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to write my balance. So I'm just going to format this quickly. First things first, everything here is based on formula. So it is up to you if you so choose. You can either pull in a formula or you can just click on insert chart of account. So I'm pulling everything in from my demo, which I connected earlier. And you're going to see everything loads here. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to add all of my account names. And that is going to be done. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say what tenant this is from. And now I'm going to add my account names. I'm going to add a hashtag at the end of this so that it takes into account all of my accounts. Now, I definitely do want to, show my balance, but first things first, let us say where this information is going to be coming from. So I'm going to put my ledger, my sub account, and my financial period. So now I can start to insert my information. So I'm going to click on Insert Function. And over here in Category, you're going to scroll all the way down, and you're going to see that we have a variety of Velixo categories. What I'm working with is the General Ledger. So now I'm going to click on Ending Balance. The wonderful thing about this is that if ever you have questions about this, you can always click on Help Me on this function. If I click on this, I'm going to get a window that is going to open up. And I'm just going to drag this over so that you can see this. And it is going to give me a breakdown of what this function does. It gives you your parameters, it gives you a description. And we also have a little stipulation here, limitations for filtering by date instead of financial period. So we filter by financial period, and you can get a little breakdown explanation as to why. If you would like to know more about our functions, we have a complete list of our Velixo functions, and they're all available on our support site. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on Ending Balance, and this is going to open up basically asking me, to fill in all of my arguments for this. So this is related to my connection. My ledger is my actuals. Let me go back because I don't know why it's doing that. Here we go. Let me put back this information, put in my financial variance, go over here, and now start filling this out. Oh, there we go. Let's correct this and make this an actual date. Perfect. So now I'm going to insert my information, connection, demo. My ledger is my actual. Account class, we are going to skip for now. Account is going to be all of my information over here. So I'm actually going to freeze this, because I want to make sure that does not change as I continue filling out my info. My sub account information. Oh, make sure that this is nice and frozen. Okay. And 1, 2, wonderful. And the last thing that I want to put in is my financial period information. Now I'm going to click on OK, and we're going to see that everything populated. So what I want to do now is just double click on here and pull everything across. Just one quick second. I see here that everything is identical, and I don't want everything to be identical. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go back, and I'm going to redo this and make sure that it is done properly. So first things first, ending balance, connection, demo, ledger, actuals, account class we can skip, account is over here. Oh, let me make sure these are all frozen as well. And last things here are as of. Wonderful. Okay, great. So what we can see here now is that everything is populated. I'm pulling everything in from my actual ledger, which is in the Acumatica space. Everything is for the financial period of December 2020. And here's all my accounts. I'll just go down to show you guys this. Now, if ever you wanted to, we see a lot of zeros here. If ever you wanted to, you have the option to click on hide zero columns. This will clean everything up for you and remove any of the zeros. So if I click on this, hide zeros. Oh, hide zero rows, my apologies. You're going to see that all of those zeros are now gone. And that's really just to clean it up if you want to. So I'm going to go back. And oops, I'm going to go back here. Now, what I would like to let you guys know is that if ever you want to do comparisons, which a lot of people do, you can do that. So if I press paste here, I have two actuals. And if I want to do an update, let's say instead of December, I want to look at November, I can do that. So I have all of my information reflected here. If ever I want to change my ledger, I can do that as well. So let's say I want to look at budgets. I can just click on OK, and all of that information will change. So I'm going to go back to actual just for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a variance. So, let's say I want to just see the difference between this minus this. I can do that. If I want it to go all the way down, I can do that as well. So I can see, if I have any changes here. The other thing really that I would love to show you guys too is if you ever want to group your information, you can do that. So for example, let's take all of this info here. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste it up here. And this makes sense, by the way, because remember, I'm pulling in my account information. I don't have an account listed here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some account information. So let's say I want to see account 10-200, account 10-300, account 10-400, and account 10-500. Oops, that should say 10-500. I get all of my information. I'm going to remove this as well because I don't have account, sub-account, all that stuff here. I just want my values. So I have all my values here. I can see what my totals are. Let's say I don't want to add a couple of ones. Let's say I want to do a range. So let's say I want to see everything that is 10-100 to 10-750. I can do that as well. I have my entire range. Let's say I want to see all of this information minus 10-200. I can do that. I have all my info here. So the last thing that I want to show you is we can also do wildcard grouping. So let's say you want to see every single account with a leading one minus information for 10-200. Oops. I can't do that actually because that makes sense. It's every leading account for 100. So I'm going to click on OK. Now this is going to give me the total of every single account that I have that starts with a 1. And I can see all my information there. So these are how we get information for wildcards. So that's just a very quick example of a trial balance. I'm going to hand this over now to Duffy, and he will be able to show you a few more features that we have.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's going well. All right, so I am going to share my screen momentarily. We will go through some of the exciting features we've added over the last 5 years. Taliba was able to share the foundation of Velixo, some of the functionalities, really the breadth of Velixo and how we got started. With that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen. This sample pack that everyone I'm hoping can see right now is available on our website. So this is free for everyone to have access to. We have, P&L reports, we have construction-based reports, we have AR aging reports, we have various reports. So the first thing you'll notice here is a sample of all the below sheets that you'll see. So trailing P&L, income consolidated report, cash flow statement. So you have access to these already. One of the first functionalities that we implemented after just the base addition of functions within Velixo and in Excel is the ability to drill down. And really what that allows you to do is click on any cell within any single one of your spreadsheets and go to the source transaction directly within Acumatica. So let's take an example. Let's take the total operating expenses. I will click on drill down, and you will see in a matter of seconds, a new sheet open up highlighting all those transactions, where they're coming from, the financial period, and the associated balances on the right-hand side. But I do want to show how we are connected into Acumatica. So let's just go ahead. We'll take this example right here. We'll click on the cell B15. And at that point, you will notice a hyperlink that will transition us into the account details section. It will redirect you into the Acumatica ecosystem where we will be in the account details section. One of the next functionalities I'm going to highlight now is the ability to push your reports back through the report distribution functionality. So with Velixo, you have the ability to send out reports to multiple stakeholders really in a matter of seconds. The first thing that you'll notice here when you see new list is this template that will populate. And this will essentially be your engine to distribute these reports out. Well, you'll have that flexibility to choose if you want to send out these reports in Excel, PDF. Do you want the reports to be static or dynamic? You have full range accessibility once you're sending these reports out. Here, you'll be able to save these reports to OneDrive, SharePoint, or another online medium if you're using right now an online medium to distribute your reports out. And then as I scroll to the right-hand side, this really will allow you to provide you with that flexibility on how you want to distribute these reports. So if you have multiple companies or branches and you want to make sure that that intended user is receiving that right report, you can filter by that given branch, but you can set up your own customization when you want to send out the reports. Once you're at the point where you're ready to distribute your reports out, all you'll do is click on distribute all, and then the reports will be sent out in real time. I do want to mention that Velixo works for Windows and Mac. We added Mac about a year ago. Almost all the functionalities are an apples to apples comparison, pun intended. The only functionality that's not down the line yet is this report distribution function. Outside of that, you'll have full accessibility. Great, so it looks like we have almost completed the send of these reports. And while this is sending out, I do want to emphasize you can automate your reports so that they send out within a specific time frame. That's all you'll have to do is set that up within your Windows Task Manager, but it's not too difficult to set up, and we have the steps available on our website. Here you'll see a few samples of some of these reports. So let's assume, for instance, we have a CFO who only wants to see a line item. Let's say of net sales. You can really slice and dice these reports the way you want to send them out. Second example here is sending a report in the body of an email. So here you'll see an income consolidator report, same idea in the body of an email. And then I'll show you two example reports. This is the first one here you'll see is for a given branch. So only Service West, we want to remove the budget. You can easily do that. And then lastly, you'll see here a full consolidated report. And as you'll see here, I'm just going to scroll to the second page. We extract anything that's on that spreadsheet, so it doesn't have to have any Velixo functions in it. You could have tables, pie charts, really what you want, because at the end of the day, we've just added Velixo functions to Excel. So you can use your knowledge within Excel and then just add, those functions we added in. So all the data is going to always be live and always refreshable at the click of a button. With that being said, I'm going to dive into one of, more highly utilized functionalities. As we've been growing, we've been seeing a large number of our customers use Velixo, not only for financials or projects, which we service both, but for generic inquiries. So with Velixo, you have the ability to extract any single generic inquiry from Acumatica and then bring that back into Excel. Let's go ahead into our environment. I'm going to just take an example. We'll go into our demo environment. And let's log in. And once we do so, I'm going to take an example. Let's take a look at payables, and we'll click on bills and adjustments. And just so everyone's here aware, and I'm assuming most individuals here are familiar with GIs, but if you're not, this is a sample of one with Acumatica. You obtain about 400 that are pre-built, but your team or your partner can also help you create your own customized GI, but it's really just this customized screen. We're not going to touch anything on this screen. All I did was click on edit on my top right, and we're going to copy that inquiry, and then we're going to bring that entire file into Excel. So let's go ahead and copy that inquiry. Let's go back into Excel. All right, so let's take this spreadsheet here. Let's just make sure we are connected. Always got to make sure. Perfect. And the first thing that we're going to do is similarly how Taliba showed how we were using a formula to get the financial function. We'll do the same thing for GI. So you'll see various options. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. I want to make sure everyone can see this. So here we're going to type equals GI for generic inquiry. Once we do so, you'll see the appropriate syntax indicated below. So it's asking us for that demo connection and simply that inquiry title. And you'll see in a matter of seconds, the entire inquiry is going to load in real time. So you'll see below here, it's indicating the amount of records that have loaded. Typically takes 2 to 3. This time it took maybe 5 seconds, but this is your entire bills and adjustments from Acumatica, which is loaded in real time. So at this point, you can create filters. We even have our own Velixo associated filter. So equals GI. So you can put that filter into the inquiry so it loads and it refreshes in real time. I do want to mention that you can have multiple inquiries and multiple functions on one given spreadsheet. There's no issue in consolidating by any means multiple companies within one given spreadsheet. With that being said, I do want to highlight the next function that you all will see here. And this actually came from a customer request about 1.5 years ago. And it provides you the ability to push back your data from Excel directly into Acumatica. So I do want to emphasize one last time, with Velixo, you really have that ability to push and pull your data from and to Acumatica. If you take a look on the right-hand side where it says right next to Writeback, you'll see new sheet. And then we'll see 4 different scenarios in how you can push your data back into Acumatica. You'll see 3 of them, which are embedded already. So if we take a look at journal transaction, you will see the template that populates. Of course, you don't have to fill out all these columns. I know there's about 7 or 8 that are required by Acumatica. Fill the ones that are appropriate to you. All you'll do after that, click on Perform Writeback. Journal transactions get pushed back in right away. I cannot tell you how many customers are utilizing this to automate their journal transactions. Second example is one, let's go into the budget scenario here. Here we go, let's zoom in a little more. Let's take this budget screen here and you'll see revenue expense account. We have 2 custom columns in our scenario. Let's just assume we wanted to modify the COGS. You'll see that's reflected in all the given periods. Once you're, well, you can use what if scenarios here. You can, allocate more towards given periods if you're more of a seasonal business. You can even create that collaborative experience and work with other members on your team by creating comments so everyone who's working on this budget will be able to access it. But once you're at the point where you want to push this back into Acumatica, all you'll do is click on Perform Writeback, then your budget gets pushed back in real time. You'll notice I have not released the file here. You have the ability to release it right away, but most individuals prefer to release it right away. And I do like to emphasize this, so I'll emphasize this one last time, but the permission rights that are set up in Acumatica are mirrored to Velixo. So if individuals don't have access to specific functionalities in Acumatica, they still won't have that accessibility with Velixo. But let's just get back into into Acumatica, just so I can show you where you would release your budget. You would type universal search, budget release, and this is where you would release your budget. So saves a lot of time from a reporting standpoint. We have the same functionality also available for project Writeback. So project forecast Writeback, the same idea. And then lastly, generic Writeback. I know I don't want to go too much over time, so this is going to be the last functionality that I emphasize today, but this is the most powerful functionality we've added over the last 1.5 years, and it allows customers the ability to push back their data into any single import scenario that has already been created in Acumatica. So you'll see in our scenario, in our demo environment, every single import scenario that populates. So non-stock items, journal transactions, you'll see everything here. Let's say I want to click on customer contracts. We type create generic Writeback worksheet. You will see a template that populates, and this template is populating based on the columns that have already been defined within Acumatica. So all you'll have to do here is fill out the appropriate fields. When you're ready to push this back, same idea comes into play. Click on Perform Writeback, and then this gets pushed directly into Acumatica. If you make any mistakes, it will be indicated right on the right-hand side what that mistake was, and you don't have to worry, that line item would not be pushed back. Everyone.
Thanks, everybody.